my name is Ashley, and today I have Michelle here.
Hi, everyone.
We're excited for today's topic. We wanted to continue to talk about the current landscape with the layoffs. Also, I have Michelle here. She have lots of experience, and today she can also share, management perspective when it comes to layoff. And also wanted to tap into during this current landscape, is this still a good time for you to ask for a raise if you have a job? With that being said, I'm gonna quickly ask Michelle, can you walk me through the current landscape right now when it comes to layoff?
Sure, certainly. We see almost every day. We see some big company announcing layoffs, and the obvious question is, well, why is this big company who's doing really well and their stock is going up, why are they laying people off? And the short answer is they want to improve their productivity. They want to do even better. Maybe some of them overhired during the pandemic. Maybe some of them just feel like the existing staff is not as productive as it could be, and so they want to reduce their numbers. But that's why the bigger companies are laying off, and I think we're going to continue to see that happening over this entire year. Smaller companies, it's a bit more urgent and financially driven in that access to money is a lot tighter now and more costly than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And as a result, these smaller companies look at their workforce and say, hey, how can we save money? So they're not attacking it from a productivity perspective as much as we really need to save money.
Yeah. So, Michelle, in your experience being in the management for so long, let's say someone asks you for, like, they ask for a raise, right? During these types of layoff landscape, what are the some of the perspective or use cases that you can share with us in the management perspective?
Right. So in a large company, it doesn't really the fact that they're looking at layoffs or not layoffs, it's probably not all that impactful to your probability of being laid off because the organizations are far more structured. So there's very stringent pay ranges, and every job and every classification has a pay range. And no matter what, they're not going to let you get too far out of that. So asking for a raise is probably not going to increase your probability. And again, remember the reason they're doing the raise or doing layoffs in large companies is to improve productivity, and so they're not focused on how much does this individual cost. They're focused more on how do I improve productivity by a number of means. One of which is having fewer people work there.
I
However, in a smaller company where the goal is actually to save money. If you've recently got a raise, or if you've gotten to a point where your salary is higher than anybody else in your team, you can really make the target on your back much bigger by pushing for a raise. And even if you don't get the raise, but let's say you've asked for a raise, your boss has gone and tried to get you a raise, and a few weeks later they decide to have a layoff. Um, uh, the thinking of management is going to be, well, this person really wanted a raise. They're probably not happy, and they might leave anyway. So that thinking will go into deciding who gets laid off and who doesn't. So right now may not be the best possible time to ask for a raise.
I see. So are you saying that, let's say if you're a high performing employee, you don't think that's a good time to ask for a raise if you're in a mid-sized company, or
Yeah,
that's
if you're in a mid-size or small company, it may not be the best time to ask for a raise, and you may increase your possibility of being laid off. But at the same time, I really believe if you think you're worth more, than what you're being paid, then I think you should ask for a raise. I think you just need to go into it recognizing that there's a risk associated with asking for a raise right now when lots of medium sized and smaller companies are doing layoffs specifically to save money.
Yeah. And I also want to touch on that too, Michelle. You told me before that let's say in a team, right? So let's say I get paid higher than the rest. What's gonna end up happening is that if they lay me off, um it's cheaper already, right? And also you can get these two people do more things because you have two count to do more things and more things to get done. So for the person that who is high performing try to get or want to get a raise, turns out that it's hurting them, right? So can you tell me that how can this individual what they need to do so that they can protect themselves into that situation?
Yeah, definitely. I think that if you are a high performing person and you've gotten raises and you suspect you're one of the highest paid people in your organization, you want to really make it clear to everybody just how valuable you are, and you want to make yourself very flexible. And what that means is have the ability to perform different jobs either within your department or even maybe outside your department, so that if a layoff is coming and they decide that they want to eliminate the entire group, for example, and outsource that group to a different organization, maybe offshore or wherever, um, then management will look at you and say, "Wow, this person's really valuable. She's incredibly productive, and she has this really broad skill set, and so I can plug her into a bunch of different roles, and immediately get value from her contribution, but in a different team."
Just like what happened to Apple, right? Like there's a recent news that, there's group that get move on to the AI to work on the AI stuff, but the rest of the group are being instead of layoff right away, the corporate what they do is that okay, you have like 60 or 90 days to look for another role within the company. So it's not like bulletproof that you will have a job right away. You still need to like showcase your value to whoever
Exactly.
team is going to take you. And here's what I think my key learning here is that you got to build relationship not only of your team but relationship with different team. Always showcase your value to different teams so that when this kind of situation happen, when they decided that who to select, your name is already in their mind that hey, I worked with Ashley before on this and this, I think she might be fit for this role. So definitely building relationship is extremely important. I've also wanted to touch on AI as well, Michelle. As you're aware, like a lot of talk on the AI impact in general, right? So you can see that some news sometimes they see that AI is a risk, but in reality, we can also discuss that hey, how we can turn AI from risk to opportunities, so that you as a performing employee or individuals can utilize AI to showcase your value to your employee, which we will dive in more in the next video. So before we end, like Michelle, do you have any like key takeaway or advice to the audience today?
I think the big takeaway from today, if you think you're undervalued, ask for a raise. Just do so knowing that should a layoff come in the near future, it might slightly or even largely, depending on the size of the raise, it might increase your chance of being laid off. Uh, if you're in a smaller, medium-sized company, like I said, bigger companies, it's not going to affect as much. And the one thing is with the AI thing, think about becoming the champion of AI in your organization. That's the role you want to be in nowadays, and build a brand around really understanding AI and making the most of it.
And make sure you showcase your value, what you learn to the people around you, so that you can start to plant a seed. For more details of how exactly you can do that based on different roles, we're going to dive into more details in the next video. Bye everyone.
So long. Bye bye.